Hey everyone, Sumo Spiffy here. Natsu Basho 2022 coming up. We got some fantasy picks to make. As always, this is going to go off of the 5 bracket style. Yokozuna Ozeki, Sekiwake Komisubi, and then 3 brackets of Maegashira. We'll have some extra picks for you to use if you have a different style going on. Let's get into it. All right, starting off at the top with the easiest pick of the Basho. Mitakeumi, big, wow, that's a terrible check mark. Big check mark. No, how about a big check mark? Big check mark. There we go. We're going to do yellow for Shoudai Takakesho and Terunofuji. Why? Well, Shoudai and Takakesho just aren't as good, and Terunofuji is the best wrestler of this group. But as we saw last time, his injury woes are capable of following him anywhere. His coach did say that he's looking better, but there's no way to know until he actually manages to stand up and get through an entire Basho again. And in addition, he has now said in interviews that he is in kind of constant pain. It's just what he can manage versus what he can't. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him with a lot of dropouts in the future, which makes him a very dangerous fantasy pick. Mitakeumi all the way. Sekiwake and Komisubi. This one's pretty easy too. We've got Wakata Kage as the obvious pick. He's going for Ozeki. He's got a good chance of doing it, but even if he doesn't quite make it this time, he can still get 10 or 11 wins and put himself in a good position to make Ozeki in July. Abi, good wrestler, nope. Hoshoryu, good wrestler, nope. And it's not that they can't do well. They could get, 9 or 10 wins at this level, but their ceiling is not nearly as high as Wakata Kage's, and they're still at a point where you can sort of hope for Kachikoshis from them on a regular basis, even up here, but they might not always get them, and 8 or 9 wins is kind of the best reasonable expectation. More than that is going to be a surprise. And then Daisho, he's fine. He could get 5 wins, he could get 10 wins. But again, he's probably not going to get past 10, even on his best day. Wakata Kage is going for 12 in that Ozeki run. Maegashira 1 through 5, and this is where it starts to get interesting. Let's go with the easy, don't pick Toby Zaru. Just listen, I love me some Flying Monkey, but when he gets to this level, he gets absolutely clapped. If he gets 6 wins, I'm going to be surprised. So no Toby Zaru, don't do it. Takayasu and Katonawaka are the obvious popular choices. We'll do little smiley faces. We're not going to do check marks yet because we don't know exactly who the best option is, right? So let's compare everyone else to how we think these two can do. So what do we expect from them? Takayasu fought 6 Sennyaku wrestlers in the last tournament. Kotonawaka fought 5, but also fought Daisho, who was Maegashira 1 and is Sennyaku now. So effectively 6 Sennyaku wrestlers each. So even though they've gone up in rank, as far as facing the top guys, their schedules are not going to get any harder. They are going to have to fight Terunofuji. Takayasu almost certainly will, because he's going to have to fight him on day 2. Kotonawaka can wait till day 5. And although Terunofuji is probably still going to be in the Basho at that point, he might be dropping out at that point. In fact, it is not unreasonable to think that Takayasu could beat Terunofuji and end up helping Kotonawaka by leading Teru to drop out so that Kotonawaka gets the Fusen win, and so it just breaks even between the two of them. So how many wins can they get? The main difference between their last tournaments and this one is that they have to fight the guys at the top of Maegashira and not in the middle. And that's a big difference. Takayasu's not getting 12 wins. Kotonawaka's probably not getting 11 wins. Can they get 10? I think so. Here's the biggest thing for Takayasu. Do you think that he went 3-3, because he was undefeated until he fought the Sennyaku guys? Do you think he went 3-3 against the Sennyaku level because he got nervous, because he started to tighten up, but he's otherwise capable of beating them when he's relaxed and not in the middle of a title hunt? Because if you think that, he's an amazing choice. He's a fantastic choice, because he's going to fight all the Sennyaku guys in the first 8 or 9 days, maybe 10. If he can beat a lot of them, if he can go better than 50-50, like say 5-3, and then he's got to fight the Maegashira guys after that, oh man, this could be another great tournament for Takayasu. But I don't expect him to do better than 50-50, which is still really good. Kotonawaka, kind of the same thing. He also went 3-3 against those 6 guys. He only lost to Takayasu leading up to that. So you can expect something very similar out of him. Now, he seemed to do a little bit better with the pressure, a little bit. Hard to say, though. Basically, I have heard some people with, a lot of knowledge about sumo make some very cogent arguments about how Takayasu's form changed as it got later in the tournament. It wasn't that he wasn't capable of winning the fights, it was that he started doing things differently. Kotonawaka just kind of got beat. That is the feeling I have from listening to bigger experts than me. So which one's going to do better? I honestly don't know. I think you can expect something similar from both of them, but I still think 10 wins would be a very, very good outcome for either one. Their schedules are just going to be more difficult this time. So can anyone else get to 10? Well, let's look at Takano Sho. I was curious, how do guys that do really poorly at Komusubi end up faring in their next tournament? Because sometimes if a guy struggles and then he drops several ranks, he's actually in a position to do really well next time. 42 wrestlers since 2000 have gone 4 wins at either Komusubi or Sekiwake and dropped to between Maegashira 3 and 5. Only 6 of them have gotten 10 or more wins. 16 of them have gone Kachikoshi or better. So that's less than 50-50. So if you think Takano Sho is the average wrestler who would go 4-11 at Komusubi, and I think that's pretty fair, he's, historically speaking, less than 50-50 to go even Kachikoshi this time. He's very capable of it, but I think 8 wins is the best expectation here. So we're going to kind of know on that one. Endo, 7 wins, 8 wins. That's just going to be what he does. He could go down to 6. He could get up as high as 9. I would be astonished if he got more than 9. Tamawashi, similarly, this is about his level, 7 to 8 wins. Hokuto Fuji is a 6 to 9 kind of guy. He's a little more all over the place in terms of what his final records might end up being, but he's certainly capable of competing here. But his top end is not quite as good as Takayasu or Kotonawaka. Onosho, at this exact rank in January, he got 10 wins. So 10 question mark? He's also done poorly at this rank. The thing that advantages him over Takayasu and Katonawaka is that he is not going to fight all of the Sennyaku. He is going to get some of the Maegashira 6 and 7 guys as opposed to more Komusubi Sekiwakes. I think he might fight all of the Ozeki, I'm not sure. And that's going to make his tournament a lot easier. So let's put a pin in that one. He might be able to do it. Kiribayama, Chris Sumo just put out a video asking, hey, is Kiribayama Ozeki level? And his final conclusion was no, not yet. And it seemed like an odd question because when he gets up to this point, he seems to do fine. Like he's certainly got the talent, but I mean, he doesn't quite, let's put it this way. 10 wins was really surprising. He's capable of it, but is he going to do it again? Again, I'm just not inclined to think that. I think he'll probably go Kachikoshi. I think he's going to get 8-9 wins here. And Ichino Joe, when he's awake, he's very good. He's very capable of getting his 8-9 wins. I think going more than that would be a little surprising, but he has proven in the past, granted a few years ago, that he can kill it. He can do a really, really, really good job sometimes. If you really like him and you're not sure what to expect out of the guys who just came up from Maegashira 6 and 7, I think Ichi is not a bad choice, but he is going to have a more difficult schedule than Onosho if you want to get away from Takayasu and Kotonawaka. So here's where I stand with this. I think if you want to go with the guys who are on a roll, then you want Takayasu. He's got a little bit of a better chance. He's got more of a track record. And the guys he's fighting, like the Sennyaku guys, are all the same. I do think that the arguments that he was getting a little nervous, a little tight are logical. I think it's very clear he's healthy now. And as long as that maintains, which is, given Kotonawaka's younger age, you'd think he has the health advantage, but given his knee, I don't know that that's necessarily true. If Takayasu's healthy, he can stomp on dudes. He really can, and I think he's going to get that 10 wins. I think 9-10 wins is actually very reasonable for him. If you don't have that trust, I think Onosho is your guy. Or if you're if you're competing in a fantasy league that has Maegashira 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8, something like that, picking Takayasu and Onosho, probably very good. Okay, Maegashira 6 through 10. This is the level at which I start to look for guys who are underranked. And there aren't any. There are none here. The only one who's kind of on that level is, let's go with blue here, Okanowumi. Okanowumi is generally a little higher ranked than this. He's usually single digits. 10 is a little low for him. But in the last tournament, he looked beat up. He looked terrible for the first half to 2/3. He picked it up towards the end, but he really looked like he was struggling for a while in a way that is not something that you usually see from him. If he's not hurt, he should do pretty well here, but he really looked like he was, and I have no idea if he was or the extent to which he was, and if he still is. So, okay, let's look for guys who are maybe overranked, and this is a lot of them. Kotoeko, way too high, gonna get crushed. Terutsuyoshi, definitely higher than usual, gonna get crushed. Tochinoshin, he got a Kachikoshi in March for the first time in over a year. He's not this level anymore. And the only thing about this, actually, let me get into what I'm about to say in a second, about the level of competition in these mid ranks right now. But he was double-digit rank for a while. He's super beat up. It's great to see him do good because he's very, very popular. He brings a lot of eyeballs to the game. But this is definitely high for him. Nishikigi, this is definitely high for him. Kota Shoho, it's hard to say because he was higher ranked and then he got hurt and then he fell out of Makuuchi completely, and now he's on his way back up. There is definitely hope for him, but where's his level at? Hard to say. Ura kind of is at this level, but this even might be slightly high for him. He had 7 wins. I'm trying to remember for sure. I think he had 7 wins at Maegashira 6 and then 10 at Maegashira 7. That's what got him bumped up to Maegashira 2. This is probably more his level though. This is where he should be. Takara Fuji, this is exactly where he should be. I know it's a down arrow. It looks like he should go down. No, he's in his spot. 5 to 8 is just where he lives. Shimano Umi, same thing. This is about where he sits. And then Wakamoto Haru, he has now had 2 tournaments in Makuuchi and 2 9-6 scores. How much better is he going to do? I don't know. This is an Uber question mark. Oh God, my art is terrible. I really need a stylus pen for this stuff. All right, let's leave out Kotoeko, Terutsuyoshi, Tochinoshin, Nishikigi with the caveat that they may do better than you'd expect given that they are higher ranked than usual because they're surrounded by guys who are higher ranked than usual. The level of competition here is not necessarily as high as it might have otherwise been in most tournaments. So Tochinoshin might get his Kachikoshi. Terutsuyoshi could get a Kachikoshi. That's not impossible. I wouldn't think that normally, but let's set them aside, talk about these other dudes. How's Ura going to do? Everyone loves Ura. 8 and 7, honestly, or 7 and 8. I just can't see him doing anything different than that. This is where he should be. He's going to fight enough guys above him who kicked his ass last time that it's not going to go well for those. Some of the other guys, like Kotoeko, Terutsuyoshi, see, Ura is so based on movement and speed that when he's stuck against guys above him who know how to deal with it and guys below him who are as fast as he is, it's hard to see where a lot of success is going to come from. He's very good. And I mean, he can definitely win fights. I just don't think he's going to completely blow it out of the water. Takara Fuji, I think you've got a 7-win floor, but he could get anywhere from 7 to 9, maybe even 10. I don't think 10 is going to happen, but it's an outside possibility. Shimano 8. Like, he's just going to get 8 wins. Maybe he's going to get 7 wins, but it's 7 and 8 wins. That's where he's at. Okanowumi, how much do you trust that he's healthy? He's either an amazing choice or he is a broken down wrestler who just can't get it done anymore. Look, his leg's detached. That's how broken he is in that particular timeline. Wakamoto Haru, Kota Shoho. How is Wakamoto Haru going to do it rank 6? Well, this time he's going to fight some Sennyaku guys. It was impressive when he beat Kiribayama and Endo. The level of competition is going up from there. Now, he can beat Kotonawaka, he can beat Terutsuyoshi, he can beat Shimano, he can get some wins. I think Akachi Koshi is actually realistic, but I don't know that he's necessarily going to do the best in the group. I think you're looking at another probable 8 wins. I think 9 is pushing it for him, but I thought that last time and he surprised me. So, what do I know? Kota Shoho might not be a complete monster at this point. Like, he might not go into rank 9 and be like, I'm going to get another 9 or 10 wins. But when you look around, who do you expect to do better than him? Like I said, we've got 4 guys who are definitely overranked relative to their recent/lifetime performances. You've got a guy who should do better than him, but we have no idea his injury status. And we have a bunch of guys who this is just their level. If this is Kota Shoho's level, he's going to do about as well as them. But if he's capable of more, then this might be where he shines, gets his 9 wins. This, surprisingly, is the bracket as opposed to Maegashira 1 through 5, where I think it's most likely you're going to see nobody with 10 wins at the end of this. But I think if you're going to go for the high end here, Kota Shoho is definitely your pick. If Okanowumi was healthy, I said it, now this is like the 3rd time I've said it, but God, I want to pick him. I want to pick him because he has a track record and I love track records, but I have no idea how he's going to look. He might surprise me. He could go 11-4. He really could. If you like the guy, if you are a fan of Jason Harris, just go ahead and pick him. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm sticking with Kota Shoho for now. And the bottom of the division, Maegashira 11 through 17. This is a lot of guys, so let's start eliminating some. Kotakuzan, Kageyaki, they went 7 and 8 at Maegashira 16 and 17 respectively. I don't think you can expect necessarily any better than them. Let's just get rid of them. Azumaru just doesn't, he did really well in Juryo, but Juryo is kind of his home. Ichi Yamamoto took a miracle to get him to his Kachikoshi. I wouldn't expect another Kachikoshi out of him. Meisei is hurt. Meisei is the best wrestler in this group. So I'm not going to eliminate him entirely as an option, but he's a big double red question mark because with his back the way it is, a Sennyaku wrestler is Meisei at 100%. The guys who stick in Sennyaku are the guys who can be there at less than 100%. He is so far off that right now that he could lose a lot of fights here if he's still not okay. And clearly, having gone 1-14, he's not going to sit out even when he shouldn't be fighting. So he is a choose at your own risk kind of pick. Aoyama. I don't know, man. Like, this is where the guys who are above him that he's likely to fight, Tochinoshin, Okanowumi, those guys, and Nishikigi, those guys are more beatable for him than a lot of ranked 9 and 10 wrestlers in a lot of tournaments would be. But he is, like Tochinoshin, a guy prone to maki koshis. It's not machi. You eat machi. We have maki koshis. So probably not him. Chiyoshima, he went 5 and 10 at a rank where he always gets 8 wins. Why did he do that? I don't know. Is he getting old? Was it just a bad tournament? Is he hurt? It doesn't matter, because when he does well, he gets 8 wins. This guy has never gone double digits in Maegashira, ever in his life. So no, don't pick him. He's at best a safety 8. And in this tournament, I don't think he's even that. Sado no Umi, no, just he's not good enough. Chio Tairyu, he's put up performances to make it seem like he could do okay, but he's still on a best level, maybe a 9. So I don't really like him either. Yutakiyama has been at Maegashira 13 or 14 for basically a year. Call him a 7 and 8 win. He's probably not going anywhere. So this leaves us with Myogiryu, Oho, Ishiura, and Midori Fuji. Now, I don't know enough about Midori Fuji. If you have a real good vibe on this guy, hey, go crazy. I'm not going to call him a good pick because from his history, I don't see enough to go on to suggest that, you know, that 12 and 3 in Juryo is going to be followed up by some strong performances here at the lower ranks of Makuuchi. It's possible. Like I said, I don't know that much about him, but I see no reason to pick him. Ishiura is, I think, the safety pick. We're going to draw a little safe here because he is the safety pick. At Maegashira 16, given his recent performances over the last couple of years, even though he has dropped to Juryo, the last drop to Juryo was due in part to injury. He has tended to do pretty well at these lower ranks. Not always, but he doesn't seem to do worse than 7 wins nowadays when he's this low. So that's a decent baseline. The 11 wins he had at Maegashira 12 was completely out of bounds for his normal performances. But I think if you're looking for a decent 7, 8, maybe 9 win pick, Ishiura is your guy. Myogiryu probably has the most upside if he's not getting too old for the sport. He is, if not the oldest guy in Makuuchi, certainly one of. And just like you want to grab the guys who are on the way up when they're young and they're starting to improve their performances, you don't want to hold on to the guys who are on their way down just because they have a good track record, even though, like I said, I love track records. He went 7 and 8 at Maegashira 11. He really should be expected to do better than that. I think he certainly can do better than that, especially given the guys around him in rank, especially if Meisei is still hurt. But I don't know that you're going to see another one of those 10 and 5, 11 and 4 performances. I do believe he has it in him. I just don't know how deep he has to dig to find it. This is probably a Kachikoshi, maybe 9, outside chance at 10, but only then because from 11 to 17, someone is probably going to get 10. And then we have Oho. First time and only time Oho was in this division, he was at the absolute bottom, started 7 and 3, lost a couple fights, and it looked like it all fell apart. Went down to Juryo, went 10 and 5 at Juryo 1 East, and now he's back up at a rank where he doesn't have to feel the pressure of maintaining his salary as long as he can get, 7, even 6 wins would probably keep him here. So how much of what he did before in his other trip up here was due to pressure? How much was the losing streak due to him feeling pressure? Or on the flip side, how much was the initial success in the first 10 days due to him being super pumped to be a Division 1 wrestler? I should say first division. Division 1 is a United States college thing. So I don't know, but I thought he looked really good in those first 10 fights when he was in Makuuchi before. I think being young, it's very possible that he started to get a little shaky, but I am not enough of an expert at the sport to know if his form started to fall apart. He looked like he was fighting normally, so I don't know why he lost 5 in a row. I am inclined to think that a guy in his position is going to, at the very least, understand that, he made it, he slipped a little, He was at the top of the next division down. He killed it. He's back up. He's ready. He deserves to be here. And that belief sometimes is the difference between a guy succeeding and failing, or succeeding more versus succeeding less. I like Oho in this one. I give him maybe 50-50, maybe, to do better than everyone else in this division because it's close and it's really hard to say how he's going to do when we've seen one tournament of action from him up here. But you look around him, he's almost certainly going to fight the guys at the bottom. He should smack Azumaru. He should smack Ichi Yamamoto. He should smack Kotokusan. He should smack Kageyaki. He'll probably lose one of those fights if he fights all four of them. If Meisei's hurt, he shouldn't beat Meisei normally, but if Meisei's hurt, he might beat him. He's going to get some of the wins around him. I don't know that he's necessarily going to compete for a title, but in fact, if he starts out with a good but not great record, like 6-4, he can stay fighting these lower ranked guys. Whereas if he starts out something like 7-1, 8-1, 7-2, they're going to start pushing up the level of competition and actually hurt his chances of getting a high win total. So yeah, I like Oho. I think Myogiryu is a logical choice. I think Ishiura is a safer choice. But for this tournament, I think Oho is the dude. And that'll do it for our fantasy predictions for the Natsu Basho 2022. Remember, we'll have daily picks going on as the tournament proceeds. It starts May 8th in the Kokugi-kan, if you happen to be in the area. And check out sumoforum.net. The forums here are full of people who want to talk shop. I just found out about this place. It's pretty cool. Come by, have a chat. As you can see, I am Sumo Spiffy. I'll see you here, or I'll see you next time.